So I'm at work, standing outside, getting some rays of sunshine, man, before I go back in. And I was sitting here thinking about that Charles Olivera fight and how many people wanted Charles to win, and how easy Ilya Topuria made it look. What I wanted to say was that it was always going to be this way, right? It was always going to be Charles being brutally knocked out because of who he is and his fighting style. Ilya knew this. Ilya knows his power. Ilya knows his fighting, his fighting style, and he knew he was going to knock Charles out. I knew he was going to knock Charles out. Now, did I think it was going to be early? Yeah, I did. Absolutely. Because Charles always gets hurt in his fights. But what I'm saying is that, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because people always thought it was going to be close, and never did I once think that it was going to be close between Charles and Ilya. I was, and my brother can vouch for me. We were talking about the fight a couple days before it happened, and I was saying that I saw a vision of Charles being flatline KO'd. It was so random. I don't know why it was a vision of that, but it was so weird. And it wasn't in the same style, but the fact of the matter is that Charles was knocked out brutally in the first round. And people always try to say it was close, but in reality, it never was. And I think that people's love for Charles is ultimately blinding them from the sobering, brutal truth, which is that Charles was just knocked out of his prime, and he's never gonna be as good as he was in his prime. And a lot of people forget, man. He defended the belt twice, but he won the belt off Michael Chandler. I mean, I know Chandler was a monster. He was a monster back in the day. But let's be honest, ever since he's gotten to the UFC, Chandler's been subpar. He's always been he's always been a fan fighter. Let's just say that. He's always been a fan fighter, and with that comes ultimately being entertaining over being smart and being strategic. Could he have made it close with Charles? Possibly, if he implemented his wrestling, he was more smarter with his combos and more smart when Charles was on his back, maybe. But I love Charles just as much as everybody else, but the fact of the matter is there's a reason why I think that Ilya would give Islam his hardest fight he's ever had. That's harder than Charles. That's harder than Dustin Poirier. That's harder than Arman. And that's ultimately because Ilya is probably the greatest fighter we've ever seen. Just straight up, probably the greatest fighter we've ever seen. From his boxing to his power to his speed to his jiu-jitsu to his wrestling, to his switch stance, to his boxing combinations. I mean, Ilya's won 6 fights in the UFC, 7 fights in the UFC. Not one of them where he is he throwing a head kick. Think about that for a second. He became a 2-time champ, a double champ, before Islam, and has never thrown a head kick. He was celebrating his victory over Charles the day before. leading up to the fight, he kept apologizing to Charles. So, was Charles always gonna lose to Ilya? Probably. But am I saying that he was terrible? Absolutely not. Charles was great. Beat Dustin Poirier. Beat Justin Gaethje. He beat Michael Chandler twice. You know, Michael Chandler, he's a fan fighter, but he still is dangerous to some extent. You know what I'm saying? Like, he put away Dan Hooker. You know, he made it. He almost won against Paddy Pimblett. But my point being, there's no one in the lightweight division who could beat Ilya. And a lot of the problem was that people were saying that, Ilya's too, you know, they were saying, Ilya's too small, Ilya's this, Ilya's that. His power isn't going to translate. Charles has a chin on him. Charles always gets knocked down in his fights. It's literally every single championship fight he's been in, he's been knocked down. Regardless of the fact that he's gotten back up and won, he's been knocked down. There's no way that Charles was going to survive against Ilya, especially with his power. No one puts out Max Holloway. No one. Not even the guy that wants to, you know, and another thing. How good is Max Holloway? How fucking good is Max Holloway, bro? I think he should have moved up pound for pound. You know what I'm saying? I think Max Holloway fighting Ilya for 4 rounds, not going out. I mean, and how good is Josh Emmett? You know, but no, Josh Emmett has a chin on him, man. He has a great chin on him, man. He's didn't get put out by Ilya, which is crazy. He just got his ass whooped for 5 rounds. That was the worst beating I've ever seen anyone take. But no, seriously. You know, Ilya and Max. Max was the only fighter that really was competitive with Ilya until he put him out. And going into round 4, Max won the first 2 rounds. Then Ilya won round 3. And clearly, I mean, obviously he won round 4, but it was very, very close. Very close. And, you know, a lot of people try to say that Charles is as good as Max, and, you know, or Max was never that good. And the truth is, Ilya is just the greatest fighter we've ever seen. It's just the truth. I think he KOs Makhachev. I really do. I really think he KOs Islam if they let him move up another weight. I say just let Islam come back down to 55. Please don't let Ilya move up, because Ilya walks around 185. He walks around 185, so do not let this nigga go up a weight class and fight Islam, because his power is just going to translate even more. He's going to get even more powerful. You know, but all that to say is don't be blinded by, you know, love, because y'all love Charles, man. I love Charles too, man. I felt like I need to smoke a cigarette after he got knocked out. It was that bad. He brutally knocked out. Brutally. But don't let it, you know what I'm saying, don't let the love for Charles blind y'all from the fact that Ilya is just that good, man. He really is just that good. And again, like I said, I think he KOs Makhachev. Not that Makhachev doesn't have a chin on him, but I think I think Makhachev's never faced power like Ilya's before, ever. I think Ilya's more powerful than I think he's more powerful than Conor McGregor in his prime, and I think fucking torches Conor McGregor in his prime. Not to say that Eddie Alvarez didn't have a chin on him or nothing like that, but you know what I'm saying. Ilya has a touch of death that, you know, Conor, his technique was outstanding in his prime. So, with that being said, not to say that he wasn't powerful at all. He's definitely not as powerful as Ilya. I would say if they had an overall, Ilya's will probably be like 99 or 100, and Conor's in his prime would probably be like a 98, 99, just one behind him. But yeah, man, Charles, you know, I don't think there's anything left for Charles, man. I don't think he wants to retire. But I think if they're not going to do Ilya versus Arman or Ilya versus Makhachev next, Charles should fight Paddy Pimblett. Or he should fight... Because if he's fighting Paddy, he's fighting down. And I know that Paddy got into the ring and, you know, ooh, let's stir off, they got beef. Nah. I think that Charles, I think he should take some time off, for sure. I think he should take at least 7 months, 8 months off. Because we've never seen Charles put out like that, ever. His lights were gone. He was gone. He was gone, and it's scary to see someone get put out like that, and then them want to come back immediately. No. I say he takes like 7 or 8 months off, and I say he comes back to a number 2 contender spot if Ilya doesn't fight by then. Because, I mean, let's be honest, Ilya didn't take any damage. So we know, knowing Ilya, he's probably going to want to fight again in the next 6 months. So if it's not going to be Paddy, I think Ilya should fight Arman. And if it's not going to be Arman, obviously I think Ilya should fight Makhachev. I think Ilya deserves, since he's the number 1 pound for pound, let's just be honest. You know what I'm saying? Give him whatever he wants, because he's delivering on every front. There isn't a space where he's lacking in. And just, if he wants to wait for Makhachev, fuck it, let him wait for Makhachev. Let the other contenders fight each other to see who's more deserving. And there's one person I didn't mention who was there. It's Justin Gaethje. Obviously, he's not getting a fucking title shot. I didn't even mention him. But I think that you give Ilya whatever he wants. Make your newest superstar as happy as possible. Because you let the other one down. Let's just be honest. You let Alex Pereira down. So just give Ilya whatever the fuck he wants. If he wants to wait for Makhachev to fight JDM in October, let him fucking wait. You know what I'm saying? If he wants to fight at the next UFC pay-per-view, let him fight. Let him fight. Just give him what he wants. So yeah, man. Covered all those points. You know, don't let Charles's love blind you from how good Ilya is. Just be there to appreciate it. Ilya is fucking good, man. He's incredible. And Charles is incredible as well. But I've just never seen anyone put Charles away like that ever. Not Dustin, not Justin, nigga, not Islam, not Michael Chandler. You know what I'm saying? And Ilya, he's on track to be probably the greatest of all time in the sport. I think if he gets, fuck it, man. If he defends his belt, if he defends the lightweight belt twice, or he goes up to welterweight to fight again, or goes back down to featherweight, is the greatest. I can't believe I'm saying that. He is going to be the greatest of all time. And just before this fight, I was saying that Islam was going to be the greatest of all time if he got one more win, because we know his next fight is up in welterweight. If he gets that win, more than likely he's the greatest of all time, and more than likely he's going to retire. And we'll never get to see that fight. But if Ilya, I don't know, man. I low-key would just want to say if he defends his belt one time, right? But I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. And, you know, the significance of the title defense always matters as well. Like, it wouldn't matter as much as if he beat Paddy, more so if he beat Arman or if he beat Islam. I would even say his Charles win would be more significant than beating Paddy Pimblett. But Paddy's in his prime. He's young. He's hungry. He's amazing, and he has amazing ground game. Probably up there with Charles, but we saw how easily Ilya was able to transition against Charles, put him in the crucifix, just purely muscled him on the ground. And Charles is a big lightweight. He's always been a big lightweight, and to throw him around like that, Charles was going to get the takedown, and then Ilya reversed it to take top position and just muscled him for there. And then when he got up, Charles obviously went for the leg hook, didn't work, because ultimately Charles wanted to take him down because, let's just be honest, he was uncomfortable on the feet. You know, we saw Charles hit him with the elbow, hit Ilya with the elbow, and Ilya didn't move. I didn't even know he got hit with the elbow until I watched the replay. So, and Ilya has a chin too. So, you know what I'm saying? There's just no way. And his recovery is 99 too. Let's just be honest. Like with Jai Herbert knocked him down with a beautiful fucking 1-2 leg kick. It flushed and Ilya got dropped. He got basically knocked out. If Jai Herbert jumped on that, he probably would have won that fight. But he didn't, obviously, and Jai Herbert got brutally fucking KO'd. Brutally fucking KO'd in the neck. That shit was crazy. But so many people were convinced that Charles would win. I'm sorry. So many people were convinced that Charles would win. And, I always sort of knew that you can think one thing, bro, but, like, it's kind of hard not to believe a guy who's so extremely confident in himself and his abilities. It's kind of like, wow, what did he do to prep for this? What did he do? So, Charles was never going to win that to me. He was never, ever going to... he was never going to win unless he got a fluke submission, like with the leg hook and everything like that. But he was never going to win that. And it's sad, you know what I'm saying? I think Ilya should have fought Arman for the belt. Ilya versus Charles for the belt. As soon as I saw that, I was like, it's going to be a good fight, but, and I think that everybody else knew that as well, which is why it sucks. It hurts so bad because, you were technically right, but you didn't want to be. So, yeah, just a little spill on that. I think Ilya is on track to be the greatest of all time. If he gets 2 more wins, he's definitely the greatest of all time. For sure. He'd be 19-0, and both of those fights would have been title fights. So, knocking out Volk, knocking out Max Holloway, who has the greatest chin in UFC history, still has the greatest chin in UFC history. Ilya's power is just different, Fighting him, if Ilya hit anybody else with that overhand right that he hit Max Holloway with to start that combination off, they would have been knocked out. It's the same shot he hit Jai Herbert with. It's you know what I'm saying? And he knocked out Charles with the left hook, knocked out Volk with a right hook. It's the same shots. But it's just nobody can defend it because his power is different. So it's an exciting time to be a UFC fan. It's an exciting time to be invested in stuff like this. We're seeing the greatest fighters in their prime chase greatness. Specifically Islam, specifically Ilya. And we're seeing them chase greatness. And hopefully we can see them fight each other, because that would be the greatest fight of all time. You know, and that would be the greatest fight of all time, for sure. I don't know how many pay-per-views I would sell. I really don't care. I just want to see them fight, because I think it'd be an amazing fight, you know. So, with that being said, I gotta move my top 10 GOAT list around. So I'll probably make a video on that. I always love watching GOAT videos. I always love watching opinions, different opinions on the GOAT status and everything like that. And I think my list is pretty solid. But I'll have to make an in-depth video on that. Because I have to move some things around now that Ilya got his win over Charles the way he did. So that probably bumps him up a couple spots. Yeah. So I mean, I do a little quick top 5 and then probably a more in-depth top 10. So yeah.